Well, hi, folks. How are you? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is, as always, our Wayne Steiger. If it's Sunday morning, it's not your normal Sunday show. We've been doing this for a while now, Wayne.
Boy, I'm telling you what, we last longer than some marriages.
Isn't that the truth? Of course, you're talking to a guy that was once married for about 28 days.
Well, that's that I don't know. That's a record, I guess, in some books.
And 16 years to my credit, too. So
there you go. There you go. So
it's only because if I'd have been as smart as I was the first time, the second time, it would have been less than 28 days.
So true. So true. So how are you, Jeffrey?
I feel good this morning. I really do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a good day. Fall is on the way. The robins have left. And so
you don't like the robins?
No, actually, they're a sign of when, spring is coming, warm weather. And when they're not here, I pretty much know now it's, the frost is less than a month away.
So really, it's only the middle of September. They've already taken off.
Yeah, well, we've already had snow in the mountains. So, yeah.
No kidding.
Of course, it's going to be a hot sun gun here today, but
you know what's coming up, Wayne?
What's that?
The polar plunges are coming up again.
Oh, yes. Yes. We ought to do a live show with you doing that.
I will. I definitely will.
We'll have to get you set up with a little heater out there because, yeah.
Oh, you mean afterwards too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, that could work.
Yeah. I mean, are you happy to see us or is this your headlights,
Hot or just cold, man, just cold.
So what's happening in your world?
Just good stuff. I'm making some adjustments, some additions, some subtractions. That's kind of the way life is.
It is. It is.
I decided we're not going to do the football show anymore. Too much work for too little reward. And it just takes too much attention onto football. I'm not really that into football, so.
Yeah, I never saw you as a football type of guy, but No,
not so much. And it wasn't that popular. And I don't know if the Rods like doing sports anyway, because I was only 10 wins and 7 losses. So that's not really anything remarkable.
I don't know. How does that go with the odds makers in Vegas?
That's about the same.
Oh, well, there you go.
So if you can't do better, why do it? That's my idea.
I think you established a great deal on that, my friend. 10 wins. Hey, listen, you still came out 30% ahead.
Yeah, I think I probably made my money back because I did bet real money.
Okay. Well, listen, that's a profit.
Yeah, it was an interesting experiment. Plus, you have trying to get 3 people together on Sunday morning, not the easiest thing.
No. No. Listen.
But Sarah Soderlund, who was doing the psychic end of it, and I think she might have done at least as well as I did. We didn't really get a chance to crunch the numbers. Her and I are going to get together. She's doing her doctoral thesis. She's a forensic psychiatrist. So we're going to get together and talk about the spirituality and psychology of serial murderers and such. So that's going to be interesting.
I found out that's
and spirituality, of course.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting take. If spirituality actually exists.
That's a good question, isn't it?
I think more and more evidence is showing it may be nothing more than, at best, a hallucination, at worst, an illusion.
Could be. That's an interesting perspective.
If you take the definition, and I took the time this morning to pull this up, get this. Hive mentality. Are you ready for this? A notional entity consisting of a large number of people who share their knowledge or opinions with one another, regarded as producing either uncritical conformity or collective intelligence. A unified consciousness or intelligence formed by a number of alien individuals, the resulting consciousness typically exerting control over its constituent members. Finally, collective intelligence is shared or group intelligence that emerges from the collaboration, collective efforts, and competition of many individuals and appears in consensus decision making. The term appears in social biology, political science, and in context of mass peer review and crowdsourcing applications.
Sounds like the Matrix.
It sounds like us, doesn't it?
It does.
It does sound like the Matrix, doesn't it? Or the Borg.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Gene had it right.
Maybe.
If you look at the evidence, the Bible is a fraudulent document. It is nothing more than a spell to cast a hallucination in a large group. The point is, there may well have been something that took over our planet 8,000 years ago, and we've never escaped it.
Yeah, I've heard some people doing some very interesting speculation. We're going to talk to them on Thursday that it was 12,500 years ago. This planet kind of got taken over, is involved in an interstellar war, and they were not able to defeat these reptilian entities, so they got quarantined to Earth about 12,500 years ago, which happens to dovetail with the beginning of Abrahamic religion, interestingly enough.
Yeah, well, the comet we know hit 12,800 years ago.
Yeah.
Kicked Earth's butts. I mean, it basically was an Ellie event.
And what's a few hundred years between friends, right?
Yeah. It just goes to show you the Hebraic God, the concept of the Bible, which it's founded on, that God is a fraud. I mean, if it exists at all, then it's a part of this hive mentality.
I agree. It's the source of the hive mentality.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Islam. Islam is to the extreme. I mean, they're ordered to kill the infidels if they don't conform to the hive mentality.
Absolutely, they are. And that's and though, there is a scripture in the Bible though too that says, bring the infidels before me and slay them before this mountain.
Well, isn't it also written in Luke where Jesus is actually quoted that I did not come here to bring peace, but I came here to bring division?
That's true.
Yeah. Didn't he also say that to go out and slay those who do not conform to the message of the whatever it goes on? I can't remember the exact length of that passage.
So you could argue that Christianity teaches the same thing.
I think it does. I mean, look how many people have died in the name of the church, in the name of Jesus. Although
it's just not as explicit as it is in Islam.
Yeah. And I had to stop myself because, listen, if the Crusades, and then you look at, the Spanish conquest of the Americas, Mesoamerica, what name did they say that they were marching in? Was it Ayus?
That's a good one.
I don't know.
It wasn't Jesus because that wasn't around yet.
Jesus, so, but still, I mean, the amount of bloodshed. And the thing about it is, we shed blood in the name of these entities that we never have known, never seen, never have any record of them actually manifesting.
Yeah. We got people asking questions and had some discussion in the chat room about the moon, which is always interesting. And on Wednesday, I believe it is 1 p.m., our friend Steve Olson is going to come on the channel and talk about the moon. He's been doing a lot of work and study on the moon.
Good.
That should be interesting
conversation.
We
had here on Wednesday on our ABC affiliate, meteorologist Mike Nelson. I've known Mike since we both lived in Austin. Anyway, he came in with a 3.5-minute piece on why we're seeing purple sunsets.
Oh, really? I haven't seen any purple sunsets.
Oh, they're here. They're very vivid. Last night was just spectacular. Now, he is saying that it is the result of a volcano that has blown there in Russia, right there in the Aleutian Islands in that area.
Oh, that's right up by Alaska.
Yeah. But I've never heard, that would be the cause for having purple sunsets.
Well, and what, all the stuff it's putting into the atmosphere.
That's what he says.
Interesting. Some people I've been reading, they've been saying that the phases of the moon are off by as much as like 25%. Full, half, quarter, all that stuff it's going backwards, it's going forwards, it's just being a mess.
The oscillation that I'm recording is wild. I mean, between full moon cycles, we're seeing a deviation now hitting close to about 80 degrees.
Megan says that she had to stay after school for asking how many people have to die in the name of God.
Megan, you're not part of the collective then.
No, you can't ask those kind of questions.
But they punish us if we do ask, which causes us to get back into conformity.
Crypto miners in Brussels, Belgium. Nice to see you.
Greetings. Good to have them over there. Good to see you. So,
Oh, and this is interesting. Material classified, talking about the moon changing and everything. And interestingly enough, the Hebrew feast days are reckoned by the moon. So if Passover is 14 days from the first sliver of the moon during the spring, if that's off, then is Passover off too?
oh, I think it goes back to say, what did Abram actually worship?
What did he worship?
What did he worship? He served Diana.
Diana?
The Inanna. There we go.
Okay. Interesting.
The moon,
Nana or whatever. Yeah.
The moon goddess. That's what his family did. They made the knickknacks for you.
That's right. And if the people that I'm having on Thursday, the folks from Cosmic Agency are coming on Thursday that say that the Pleiadians are the ones that quarantined the reptilians here about 12,000-ish years ago, which is about the time that Abram and his moon started, moon worshippers started. And if the moon broadcasts the 3D matrix frequency, as these folks say they do, it all starts to come together. It's interesting at the least.
Well, explain to me how the ziggurat in the city of Ur, which is where Abraham came from, we know that ziggurat was for the worship of the moon. It's almost virtually intact. It's in better shape than what the pyramids are in.
How about that?
So when Abram supposedly, and listen, it was either a deception of, what is her name? Imezergog, what is the goddess of Yahweh?
You're talking about his consort, Asherah?
Yes. That is probably who it was. Or it had to be Enki.
Oh, there you go. And are those? I'm not an expert on the Anunnaki, and do they ever switch sexes?
They morph. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, they can be both male, female, depending on what they want.
So Ashtaroth, Asherah could be Enki or Enlil or whoever.
I contend that's the only way it can be. I mean, the Hebrew God that comes in on the scene. Now, the Jews say that the Hebrew God created creation in the year 3450, I believe, BCE. We know that the Sumerians, we have records dating back nearly 8,000 years for them. So this Hebrew God is at least 2,000 years late to the scene.
Yeah, and interesting, Robert, USN Vets, says that the city of Ur, many speculate that it could have been a spaceport.
And Zechariah 12 would agree with you on that, Robert.
And of course, Grace M weighs in with, God is real! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. We're not
saying that the creative force is not real. What we're saying is that he who says he's God is a fraud.
But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the God that Grace is talking about is real, but he's a real asshole.
You see? This is
exactly.
So, folks, this is what I think of the God of the Bible. I mean, but that's just my opinion.
So you're telling me that the God of the Bible is intimately acquainted with Uranus, or at least his anus?
Yeah, I think that's why it stinks.
Boom. I like it.
Boom. Early in the morning, we still got it.
Boom.
But it just has to be this way. So isn't the fact that Enlil was the one who supposedly created us, Enki was supposedly the one who wanted to come rescue us? I mean, and the thing about it is, this Hebraic God, whoever it is, it deals in blood.
Absolutely. 100% blood.
It's usually ours.
And the funny thing is, why not?
Go ahead.
They have, this Hebrew God, this Bible God, you're supposedly eating his flesh and drinking his blood, whether you're Roman Catholic or Roman Protestant. You have different ways of doing it, but you do it. But that's really a joke, because the reason you're here and the reason he's still there is because he's really eating your flesh. and drinking your blood. He is eating and consuming your energy. That's why this entity is still alive.
Yes, yes. I think the evidence shows that they're electrical in nature. I think if the Elohim exist, it would seem that they're a species that's primarily predicated on electricity or plasma.
Yeah, they're certainly consuming it.
Yeah, they definitely are. And they seem to be consuming it off us
Exactly.
a lot. But it goes to show you, and listen, none of the religions are exempt in this. They're all part of,
Wayne, would the entity that is the God of the Bible is clearly seen to be a God that consumes energy. He eats it, he consumes it, he takes. When you think that the ultimate source of divinity would be giving, providing, sustaining, rather than the opposite, the God of the Bible is a parasite.
Yes. Yeah.
He even says that he inhabits the worship of his people. That's the thing. Look at what that says. It is that energy of worship and praise and adoration and submission, literally, that he lives in and makes him live. That's what he eats.
Wow. Now you think about what praise does to you. It gives you euphoric feeling.
It does.
Yeah. Enter his gates with praise and thanksgiving.
And his courts with praise.
So is that not the epitome of ego?
There you go.
I mean, did the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 have it right?
I didn't see that, Wayne.
Well, you should, because it has a very poignant message. And if you can get through all the fluff, so the guy who plays Star-Lord, Chris, whatever his last name is.
Is that like the guy that thinks he's the captain, but really isn't?
Yeah. Well, his father is the one who gave him. So it's actually a metaphor for the story of Jesus.
Interesting.
You had this God that created everything, and his name is Ego. And he went through all the universe creating in his image. And he could never find a particular bloodline that would be able to take the imprint of his essence.
Interesting.
So the story with the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 starts the story. In story 2, we get to meet who his Chris Pratt's father is, and his name is Ego. And Ego rules everything. Everything is created in his image. Everything has him in it.
Interesting. Isn't that the definition of ego? It's all about me.
Isn't that then what worship would be, is actually the epitome of ego?
Oh, self-adoration?
Yes.
How
can you be a god?
Is worshiping yourself necessarily bad?
Personally, I think it's the way it should be.
Yeah, there's degrees of it, though, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, you can go to extremes, but that's also part of the experience. It's why I can't do any of this, Solomonic magic. I cannot force myself to get down and even invoke this God in any shape, form, or fashion.
Yeah. Wayne, what about the possibility that the Tetragrammaton is not really that God's name, that God just usurped it?
I believe that's the case. There is a saying that if we know the name of a God, it's a fraud. It's been made up.
Yeah, it can't be real.
No deity will give its true name. You control it.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
I mean, doesn't the Abrahamic God have 72 names?
Wayne, we should have done stage names.
Oh, we should.
It's too late now, but we could have done stage names at the beginning.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Back when I started doing comedy, some guy tried to talk me into doing a stage name, and I almost did it, but I didn't.
Well, I think
that could have been I could have been like Calvin Luther or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's when we start believing in these names that we give them substance and power.
Interesting.
It's the old story of, I saw the woman down, I guess it was in Louisiana.
Down in Louisiana.
She was being robbed, right? And that guy was holding that gun in her face, and she looked at him and she said, "In the name of Jesus, you won't lay a hand on me. You can't pull that trigger." And I mean, that woman just got right up in that guy's face, and he hauled ass out. Now,
He could
why?
have just shot her too.
He could have, couldn't he? But he believed in the same name that she did, and that gave that name power over him.
Oh, absolutely. Plus, I'll bet he was black. I bet she was black, and I bet it reminded him of his grandmama.
Yes, indeed. And she did remind me of, Mama.
Yeah.
I mean,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
That woman was, 200 pounds of retribution.
Yeah. And he figured, hey, there's easier ways to get money.
Start preaching in the name of Jesus.
Yeah, that's that's the ultimate stick up. Why do you think people raise their hands in church? Because they're being robbed.
Man.
They're being held up. Oh, that's one for my comedy routine right there.
Right there.
Boom.
When I served as the head usher in
I love that.
That's perfect though. Ba-boom. There was one guy that I had help on the offering, and he would be one of those guys who simply look at you and say, dig deeper. You don't pass that plate without putting something in it.
Did you see the cross and the switchblade?
I did, yes.
And they would sit there and hold it until they gave more and more.
Yeah.
And you know what? You don't want no crinkle either. All tinkle. Don't be putting change in there.
We want to hear the Christmas of it.
That's right. We want crinkle, not tinkle.
Well, you know why I developed the first mobile giving app for churches?
There's another one.
Boom, they're coming fast.
Yeah.
It's because of the theft.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize that
people that are stealing don't want shit stolen from them. Wayne.
No, man. No. Nearly $5 billion a year is stolen from churches.
So, Wayne, listen to what you just said. Not only are the churches stealing from people through the tithe and offering, but there's actually people in churches that are stealing from the stealing.
Yeah.
So you're telling me ushers, preachers, pastors are taking money off the books?
You know who's the number one arrested pervert?
Got to be the church secretary.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the church secretary or the preacher's wife.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Not the preacher himself, huh?
There have been a few, but they know.
Maybe it's like, you remember the old Seinfeld episode where Elaine has that dude Putty that's her boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And he's supposedly a Christian and she's not. So he goes to the door and says, Elaine, grab that paper. And she says, well, why don't you grab it? He goes, well, I'm a Christian, but it doesn't matter if you go to hell. Exactly. So it's like, honey, take that money.
Hey, it's so true. I've been around it. I've seen it. I had one true story. When I was doing the marketing because mobile was just coming out. This is back in 2009. I went to a church. I was going around the country, going to churches, stopping in. Anyway, this one Baptist.
That must have been fun.
Oh, it was weird. I know that there's only 3 ways that they take offerings, but here's what this preacher, literally, this pastor said, come on back here. Cause I told him I was from Colorado. He says, well, come in here. He says, so what do you got going, son? That's what he said. I said, well, I'm developing this mobile giving. He says,
were you cold calling churches, Wayne?
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Interesting.
Literally. And he said, why would people want to give through their phone? I said, it gives accounting. And I said, there's, transparency here. He looked at me and he says, boy, let me tell you transparency. He got keys, unlocked his desk in his office, and he pulled out literally 2 sets of books. He says, this is the one the people see, the board. This is the one I see and God sees.
Wow. And you know what? I just had the thought the other day. I was getting ready to do a little show. I haven't done it yet, but Paula White.
Yeah.
is enjoying all this access to Donald Trump, and she's like important, and she calls Donald Trump. She goes and sees Donald Trump. All I have to say to Paula White is, you better get it all done before the election in 2020, because when he gets reelected, he doesn't need your creepy ass anymore. And I guarantee you will not see Paula White, and her access will be cut off once 2020 is over, and he doesn't need that voting block anymore.
I agree.
She'll be done.
It's one of the big concerns I have for our president is if this is a spiritual advisor, oh shit.
I think she's just represents a voting block he has to have.
I hope so. I do. Because
And there might be a couple other things about her that he's interested in, but we won't go into that.
he does have a penchant. Well, Melania is not a blonde, though, you know?
She's not.
No.
She's not.
She'll go down in history as probably one of the most ignored first ladies that did probably one of the most achievements.
And she probably loves it that way.
I think she does.
So Paula White, is she still married to the creepy singer guy?
Yeah, with Journey.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're still doing porn and stuff.
You know, boy, you and I know the history there. And,
what kind of hubris does it take to stand up in church and say that they use pornography in their love life? What kind of hubris and what kind of idiots does it take to sit there and listen and keep giving?
Yeah. I mean, seriously, you think about this. What is that saying? It's saying that their whole faith is of little. It doesn't matter.
And she's in a very low income, predominantly black city. Her church.
Yeah, the former pastor of that church basically committed suicide, overdosed on cocaine, and it was discovered.
You think it was on purpose or accidentally?
I don't know. It was found out that he had a number of ladies on the side and was living. You see, and this is what gets me. How
99 Problems in Hoes was some of them.
And when she divorced her first husband, what is it? The Church Without Walls, I think it was.
Oh, yeah, that was in Tampa. And then she moved up the road to Apopka,
which is out in the middle of, Orlando.
It's Orlando-ish. And it's, like I said, very predominantly black. And, man.
They were one of our pilot churches.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No kidding.
I know that. Spent many an hour down at that church. Know it well.
How well do you know Paula, Wayne?
Not the way that you think. When I went to her, she was renting this mansion right next door to Tiger Woods. Well, Tiger Woods was actually four houses down.
So she is renting a mansion off of people that are living in government housing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't put two and two together and come up with six and say, wait a minute.
No, she has a full-time live-in bodyguard, quote unquote. Single guy.
Oh, yeah. I bet he is guarding that body.
And yeah.
Let me guess. He looks like a Chippendales dancer, right?
He actually ex-SEAL.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, ex-SEAL. And
because she needs somebody to guard her body, Wayne.
Got a lot of investment in that.
That's right. She needs somebody to guard every inch of it.
And, we're getting
Get in here and guard this body.
That whole group, Benny Hinn, TD Jakes.
Speaking of,
yes, sir.
Paula and Benny have been photographed on multiple occasions, vacationing with each other, holding hands, kissing.
Oh, it's all in the name of the Jesus.
Dude, do you realize she's a hoe. If she will go with Benny Hinn just for the money and the notoriety, she ain't with Benny because he's good looking. She ain't with Benny because of the hairdo. She with Benny for some other reasons because Benny got some Benjamins. That's what she's with. She's with Benjamin Hinn, not Benny Hinn.
And that's really what it's about. I was told that by more than one of those televangelists that, Mr. Steiger, this is a great application. I know you think you're doing it for the kingdom of God, but brother, we've been taking collections one way and we're going to continue to do that way. It's all about the money.
Is that what they do still? Or did it really take over?
They have to now go, to mobile giving because I was a prophet and I told them all, I said, in less than 10 years, this is the way everyone's going to be giving. And boom.
So how do they steal the money these days, Wayne?
Well, remember a great deal in the demographics, age demographics. You still
here's a great point. Sorry, I know I just cut you off, but it caught my eye. Joey Aragon says that, or speculates that most of the actors and actresses in porn are NPCs. non-player characters.
Very well could be.
That would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That would explain a lot. So how are they stealing these days?
Well, you still got the greatest generation, which was basically our parents, grandparents. They still give by check. And there
they
is
do still give by check?
Yep, and there's still a great deal that still give by cash.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Nigel was saying, sorry, but porn movies are boring. Well, you always know how they're going to end.
It's like watching a house buying show. You're watching a show of people who are looking at houses, who want to buy a house, who eventually buy a house.
Amazing, isn't it?
How exciting is that? Oh, honey, let's see what next week's episode is going to be.
I bet somebody's going to buy a house.
Can you imagine that? But that's how it works. And what I found, it served a lot to my awakening, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Because what I found out is that there is a deliberate spell that every time you go into a church, this is how it's done. You have the greeting. The first thing you do, you have the greeters that meet you as you're coming in. Their job is to basically absorb that negative energy as you pass into the sanctuary.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
That's what they do. Then as you go into...
And there's usually walls between the entrance and the sanctuary.
Yes, there is. Yes. Interesting. When you get into the sanctuary, what do they start doing? Well, to ease your nervousness, they'll start singing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to bring you up. They're going to bring you down.
Yeah.
They're going to bring you and turn you all around. And then after you got the endorphins released, now the offering plate. But first we have to do announcements.
I think the smart churches do their announcements after offering. After you got the people hyped up, then you get them into that great offering place, Thanksgiving praise worship. Then you drop the offering on them. And if I was the preacher, I would drop the offering on them, and then I would do a little, something. If the worship was real good, I come up there and say some stuff. Then you drop the offering. Then you can do the announcements. You don't want to break the energy with the announcements, Wayne.
No, you don't. That's true. I absolutely agree with you. And it's funny when Lynn, I took her
Besides, you give the offering, you do the announcements, and then you can take another offering for the building fund or whatever, or the missionaries or the whatever.
Exactly. That's how it works.
Because they're already in that given mode. They already got their wallet out. It's right there.
Yeah.
Why you got it out? Let's do another offering.
And it works.
No, it does work.
R.W. Schambach was the best at that.
Oh, R.W. could take some offerings.
When he came up to Life Christian Center when I lived in St. Louis, we took the offering home because he wanted us to guard it.
Wow.
And we counted it out with him right there. It was over $3,000.
No kidding. Did y'all go to Shoney's afterwards?
We did. It wasn't Shoney's, it was Denny's, but yeah. We did. And he bought.
Yeah, he liked to go to Shoney's in Pinellas County when he come. Everybody ready to go? Who's taking me to Shoney's?
And the thing about it was, guess where he got the money from?
Where?
Out of the sack.
Of course he did.
That's
God's money. He's God's man.
God's money. Exactly.
You got a problem with that?
God.
And RW was one of the straighter ones.
He was. I mean, he was a hell of a character. He really was. You ain't got no problem. What was his moniker?
You don't have any problems. All you need is faith in God.
In faith in God. That was exactly it.
I have seen him put away some food at a buffet. Oh my.
You can't come in here no more.
Brother Jeff, go fill my plate and make sure it's just filled to overflowing, just like my cup. Okay, brother.
Oh, man. When we went into Branson for Keith, I think
Keith Green.
Was that his church there? It's anyway, Kenneth Copeland was having one of his conventions there. Well, when you fly into Lake of the Ozarks, Branson, that airport's actually owned by the same guy who owns what's the big fishing place?
Bass Pro.
Bass Pro. Thank you.
So Bass Pro Shop guy owns the airport?
Owns the airport there in Branson.
Wow. I didn't know. I thought most airports were like civically owned. That's interesting.
No, he leases it out.
Nice.
And they have the private airport right next door. There were more jets. I mean, Citation 10s, Falcon 4s, Gulfstream 3s. these were the preachers flying in.
Isn't that crazy? To Branson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think preachers go to Vegas a lot?
I believe they do. I do.
Interesting.
Well,
I wonder if they go to Reno a lot, because that's where they got the brothels up around Reno.
Jimmy Swaggart, look at him. It took him down.
So to speak.
Oh, God. Put that in your joke routine.
Yeah. Poor Jimmy.
But you know what? I saw him advertise on cable. He has his own cable network.
He's still doing that, huh?
Yeah. He's, as he says, come here. He says, we'll sing you the old time gospel music. We'll make you to realize to fall in love with the Lord Jesus Christ, and you'll get some of the best gospel preaching.
Is that called Sun Life Radio or Sun Life? Yeah. Yes, SONLIFE.
I think you are absolutely correct. Yeah.
Jimmy's getting old.
He has to be what? Well, in his mid 80s?
He's pushing 80 for sure, I think.
I mean, it has to be well up there.
And he's still going, man. He's taking a licking and keeps on ticking.
I keep on thinking, you know, there apparently is this big ego thing amongst these televangelists.
84 years old 84. Is Jimmy Swaggart.
Wow. And up there preaching the word of God.
Born on March 15th, 1935 in Faraday, Louisiana.
Wow. There you go.
There you go.
As you and I talk, Jeffrey, I keep on thinking, Jim and Tammy Faye, Baker.
Jim is still preaching too, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And Pat Robinson, the whole thing with the 700 Club.
Is Pat Robertson still alive?
I think he is. And
he is still alive. He's still preaching. He shouldn't be, but he still is.
I'm sure that my ex-wife and I have our name still on a brick that we paid $10,000 for to
Pat Robertson.
Well, when they were building the whole, what was his Christian
PTL?
That was Baker.
That's right. CBN.
CBN, thank you.
Christian Broadcasting Network.
Yes. So we got involved with that, and then Pat got into politics. And
what if all those guys would have got together and said, let's make one big network and we'll split the profits?
That would have been the smart thing.
That would have been smart, but too much ego, right?
Too much ego. Boy, it's like, who can be the big dog?
Yeah.
And I would say probably right now, Copeland would probably be the big dog, but the Catholic Church, definitely.
Copeland, that's a study right there.
It is a study. That is a guy of mystery. I was deeply involved with those people. And the thing that you never found out about Copeland was his beginnings.
Yeah, I've never heard the beginning story of Copeland.
Well, he was married to a woman. They had a daughter.
Not Gloria.
Not Gloria. Mm-mm. And Kenneth was basically a honky-tonk singer. He was a pilot.
Oh, really? I didn't know he sang that well. Does he sing good?
Oh, he has. Oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he really does have, I would definitely.
Does he play the piano?
No, he is just simply a singer.
Okay.
But check out some of his albums. They are good. But thing was, so there was apparently a split and you never hear anything. Now, Gloria, from her story, is that they were so broke, they couldn't afford to take,
they couldn't pay attention.
Exactly. Couldn't rub two nickels together. She said that she cooked in a coffee pot, an electric coffee pot, and they couldn't afford a refrigerator. So they kept most of their food in the wintertime outside, and the summertime they didn't. So anyway,
I call bullshit on that, but anyway, it's a good story.
And then she discovered the whole thing in Mark 11:24.
Also, it was Gloria that did it, not Kenneth.
It was Gloria.
Does Gloria run the show?
Yes.
From behind the scenes, somewhat.
She does. You don't.
She's a way better preacher than Joyce Meyer and any of them other girl preachers.
Yeah. And the thing with Joyce, the same thing. I look around these women, but anyway. Then he gets a job at Oral Roberts. Flying Oral Roberts from crusade to crusade. And he enrolled at ORU and dropped out the first semester because he began to see, well, my anointing is my own preaching.
Interesting. Wasn't he hooked up with Kenneth Hagin too?
He was. Yep. And if you ever want to see Kenneth Hagin, I saved the video. You want to know what a sorcerer is like? When a person can walk and literally put their hand and people fall 5, 6 rows, that's some powerful magic.
Doesn't Benny Hinn do that too?
He does it, but Hagin could do it the best. He could do a spell, Jeffrey, that literally would get you start laughing.
What's the point of having all those people fall over?
Because they become attached to you.
Oh, okay. That makes
Start
sense.
pulling off it. And, Kenneth Hagin will tell you that, God raised him off the deathbed as a 17-year-old.
That's right. I remember that story.
Yeah. Yeah. The ABCs of faith. I still have that.
Kenneth Hagin is dead.
Yes, he is. He left a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, but,
he's the one that brought that Shield of Faith logo.
Yes, he did. Yep.
Yeah.
He was the first one that showed the preachers how to start becoming millionaires.
He was, wasn't he? What was his ministry called?
Kenneth Hagin Ministries, and his Bible college where I went was Rhema Bible College.
Oh, that's right. Rhema Bible Institute.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Wow. How about that? Is that still going?
Yeah. Yeah. Donna Mills went there. The
actress?
Ellie Mae.
No kidding.
We were going to Bible college at the same time that she was.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
She was cute, right?
Oh, delightful little gal. Yeah. Yeah.
Why'd she go to Rhema?
Because the teaching of the faith.
Oh, yeah. To me, I wouldn't go to Rhema. It was too. I was a Jimmy Swagger Bible College kind of guy, not a Rhema guy.
Southern, Yeah. Well, Hagin was really one of the first of the prosperity preachers.
Right. We didn't like that prosperity gospel.
No, there were a lot of people that didn't like that. But, because you're supposed to be humble, right?
Yeah, well, we wanted to preach Jesus, not gab it and grab it.
Name it, claim it, and what was the last part? Bank it.
My goodness, those were the days.
Oh, they were the days. What tripped me up? I was telling Lynn about this. I said, Jeffrey, I believed from the Gospel of John 13 to the 16th chapter, 5 different times Jesus says, ask anything in my name and it will be granted to you. Everything that I represent, my Father will give it to you. 5 different times he says that. But the problem is I don't see thousands and thousands of millionaires walking around because they were all asking for money.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
It is.
It's an interesting recipe, and some of them got it and some of them don't.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
But Wayne, sometimes it's a little frustrating when you see the con artists and you see the charlatans, and you don't even have to leave it in the preacher realm. Just bring it into the YouTube realm. The charlatans, the con men, the con women, the ones that aren't doing, and they're as fake as a $3 bill. And you still got them with the hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And a guy that's trying to be straight has got to struggle and work and push to maybe get to 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that sound like I'm just crying in my milk, Wayne?
No, I think that we have to take this and look at it objectively. They're using a very powerful spell incantation.
Ooh, somebody's talking about the Church of God in Christ. Believe it or not, I was one of the first white preachers in the Church of God in Christ, ladies and gentlemen. And Champagne Supernova, which is a great name, says that the Church of God in Christ preacher kept calling her out because he couldn't get her to fall when he laid hands on her.
Yeah. Now, what does your altar character say? Get that con out of my face.
Yeah.
You got to bring that back, buddy.
I do. Guten Morgen, Marlies.
You have to.
When I started, I was always a hardhead in my church and my meetings. Usually at Pentecostal churches, they lay hands on you and they got people behind you to catch you.
Yeah.
We didn't have no catchers at my church, no catchers at my meeting. So if you go down, you better go down in the spirit because you were going down hard.
Oof.
And we had people, Wayne, I've seen people fall out and bash their head on pews, bash their head on the floor. Never a problem, but I never had any catchers. And I would tell them, if you go down, you better go down the spirit because you are going down hard. No catchers, Wayne.
Is it me?
No catchers, Wayne.
No catchers.
Nope.
Wow. we trained catchers, the
You
men.
trained the catchers?
Oh yeah, we had to make sure that they understood what was going on, and you had to put the little towel over on the
Oh, we
ladies.
had the people that would put the stuff
Yeah,
over the ladies when they fell.
yeah, but we had to tell them that no,
Like,
don't.
hold on a minute, not so fast. Okay, go ahead.
Well, that's what we taught them, is that don't let them hit the ground. You're supposed to be there and let them flow in the spirit.
Well, if it's really the spirit, why do you need to catch them?
Good question. I don't know.
Because of liability.
Oh, Jeffrey, you're bringing back, memory. I can still see Copeland and Gloria going through the healing line. Whoa. I mean, folks.
Sylvia Claudia says that there was a bald guy behind her ready to catch her. I'll bet there was.
I bet there was.
Hoping she was going to fall. Because when you're catching a young lady, Wayne, you never know where you might have to grab her. I'm just saying.
Well, I found out, though, if you're the one laying hands on, you're going to get the straight up view. That's all I got to say.
Wayne, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I would remember girls coming up to the altar and kneeling down. And I know they were doing their best to show everything they had as much as they could.
It's instinctual.
And one time, this is a funny story. I was preaching at a church, and I'd come down off of the platform. I was standing right in front of the platform, and there were so many people in line that I was literally inches away from the platform. And the platform came up right to the bend of my knees, and I was praying for this one lady, super busty, and she fell out, but she fell forward, and she fell on me, and I staggered back those inches, and the platform caught me right at the bend of my knees. I fell over flat on my back. And she was in my face, and her boobs were all up in my face. I'm glad there was somebody else there, because I would have suffocated, but I probably would have died happy. That's all I'm saying.
I can see it. I can actually see it. I mean,
that's really what you call getting in the flesh right there.
You did a thing on how sex, controls the masses, and it's always interesting how in every church they preached against it, but in every church there was adultery. More fornication going on in churches than what you would find in bars.
Well, sometimes you had so much fornication, they called it five-ication. I don't know if that would work, because I don't know many people know what fornication is in the comedy club.
I always did the 5-inch separation rule. You don't hug someone like this. You lean into them.
Oh,
right?
Dude. I mean, you can tell when a church has some problems because they got those full body hugs going on.
Yeah.
That's dangerous. I always try to give the shoulder hug.
So why is it that, and I guess I'm just going to come out because I've never heard this really brought out to public. Why is the sexual stimulation so high so often in churches and church services?
You know why, Wayne? Because there's such a thin divide between the sexual, the sensual, and the spiritual. It's really the same thing. We perverted it so much that we don't get that anymore.
Wow, it's so true. I mean, in churches today, they put on plays almost. They're almost theatrical productions. And I see some of the women, and it's like, well, isn't that provoking?
But I think they're doing it on purpose.
Yes, I was going to say, if you got it, shine it.
And when I was married the whole time I was a preacher, and I got so many offers. Were you hit on? Huh?
Were you hit on?
Constantly. And I never gave in. Of course, if I'd have known what my wife was doing with that piano player, things might have changed a little bit, but
you just brought the whole thing full circle. That's the point.
Yeah.
Most of the adultery I saw in church staff ministries was in the praise and worship group.
We know a lot of the musicians are gay too.
Oh, that is very interesting. Going into
that's why Pentecostal preachers can't preach against homosexuality, because the organ player and half the choir would be gone.
Very, very interesting when you think about that.
It is.
Yes, it is. Boy, we're talking about this. One of the weirdest experiences I had was outside a little town. I think it was Clover, Kentucky. One of those. It's where they actually did the the snake holding thing.
Oh, nice. Snake handling.
Now that's some weird stuff, brother.
I was in one church where they brought that out and I left.
I mean,
I was supposed to preach and they brought it out and I said, okay. I just walked out. Didn't say okay. Didn't get my money.
Woo! You were actually, now that is interesting.
That was up in Kentucky, West Virginia, one of them places.
Yeah, right. It was literally on the border. It was literally.
Ooh, scary stuff.
I mean, whoa. I mean, that told me that, that's some magic going on out there.
Yeah. But one of the best things that Jimmy Swaggart ever told me was when you counsel a woman, don't counsel alone if you can help it. But if you have to counsel alone, leave the door to the office open.
He should have taken me.
Well, Jimmy didn't have no trouble counseling. He was out there running the hose. That's when he had his issues.
That's exactly it. I actually
should have left the door to the hotel room open.
I actually caught two people in the midst of, I don't know, I guess fornication, adultery, but happening right in the church.
You know what, Wayne, the craziest thing, when they opened Jimmy Swaggart Bible College, they had a pandemic. That means they caught a lot of people doing it. These Bible college students, boys and girls, having sex, but having sex in the dumpsters.
What?
Exactly.
Oh, come on.
Having sex in the dumpsters.
Wow, that gives a whole new term to dumpster diving, doesn't it?
Yeah, and dirty sex.
Jeffrey, you just got another one.
Dude, do you believe that? They were having sex in the dumpsters.
Wow.
Multiple times.
Well, that's just trashy.
That is trashy. That's really trashy. You know you're a trashy hoe? When you're having sex in a dumpster, you're really a trashy hoe.
Woo!
Joey says, I don't see how dumpster sex could be fun. Me either.
I keep on thinking of Leonard Skinner, oh, that smell.
Oh, could you imagine?
Could you? Jeez. Oh, my.
Writer is absolutely bad. I can't even repeat it, but it's hilarious. Can you imagine that?
It just
hopefully it's the one where it's just all the paperwork and stuff that's thrown in.
And of course, Jesus is not looking,
Well, Jesus could look right down on it because they're open. You wouldn't think you'd close the lid. If this dumpster is rocking, don't come and knocking.
I'll bet you someone did close the lid.
Oh, could you imagine?
Oh, that's
what Jimmy should have put stickers on all of those dumpsters. If this dumpster's rocking, don't come and knocking.
Don't come a knocking. Oh my goodness.
People are so crazy, man.
I'm just reading some of the comments going out there.
And it really happened. Blue Bottle Bunny Farm says, if you have sex in a dumpster, do you feel really dirty afterward?
Says it's dirty sex.
Oh my God. Could you imagine getting locked in a dumpster?
Oh my. You're not supposed to have this kind of fun on Sunday mornings.
So if you're having sex in a dumpster, when you climax, do you yell out, oh God?
Well, yeah. Of course. I mean, it would be
says they got thumped in the dump.
A thump in the dump.
Oh, that's terrible. Horrible.
Oh.
There's got to be a better place at Jimmy Swaggart Bible College to fornicate than the dumpsters.
We just may have increased the enrollment of all Bible colleges. I mean,
well, the joke is that they're bridal colleges.
Oh, it's true.
Because the girls come there to get married and the boys come there to have dumpster sex.
Well, when we were talking...
Dude, if you're a girl and you're having sex in a dumpster, do you really think he's going to respect you outside the dumpster? You're just not the same man that you are in the dumpster when we're outside the dumpster.
I'm trying to put my mind in this. Like, come here, babe. Let's get it on here. Where can we go?
I know. Let's go in the dumpster.
Dumpster.
Let's go dumpster diving.
And then I got to think of the girl who says, sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, a guy, you can understand a guy. I mean, guys will do whatever they can, wherever they have to do it. But a girl, what kind of girl says, okay,
Yeah. I
I'll
mean,
climb in the dumpster?
oh boy, oh boy, oh
Cynthia L
boy.
says, he's not respecting you in the dumpster. Wow.
That is just too funny. I mean, because that door
Where'd you
swings both
meet?
ways.
Hey, Mom, where'd you and Dad meet? In the dumpster. Could you imagine if you were conceived in a dumpster?
Somehow I keep
Oh,
on hearing Doc Holliday. Well, Johnny Ringo.
can you imagine? I don't know what. If a girl has sex in a dumpster, she's not a daisy. She's not a daisy at all. Wow.
Ooh, she's a dirty bird. Oh God.
Yeah, memories. Bible college
Oh,
memories.
I'm
You walk down
telling-
the hallways and just yell out verses, and you have to quote it back or you lose. Matthew 12:17.
Okay.
Crazy stuff.
And that's
I wonder if they
great.
did that in the dumpster. I bet they did. I bet there was no scripture quoting in the dumpster.
Well, that's a great form of memorization.
I
Luke
guess so.
4:17,
Ooh, if you haven't had sex in a dumpster, you didn't go to Jimmy Swaggart Bible College.
Boy, talking about getting the natural rhythm.
Wow, man, that's just horrible.
Oh,
Horrible.
mercy. All right. That was funny. But that's the experience you go through.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's back when Jimmy was at the peak, man, so to speak. That's when on more TV stations than ABC, NBC, and CBS combined. I think their opening class at Jimmy Swaggart Bible College had more than 10,000 students.
10,000 students.
It was just, I mean, he was the cock of the walk.
Oh, when he came to St. Louis, we went to his crusade. The man could play the piano.
Oh, I mean, he taught Jerry Lee Lewis how to play piano.
And you could hear it. I mean,
A lot of people don't know this, but Swaggart and Jerry Lee would go to all of the talent shows and play double piano, and they quit letting them enter because they just destroyed every, contest and won it going away.
I mean, I bet the bones were definitely a moving.
And the worst piano player in the family was Mickey Gilley.
Really?
Yeah. And Mickey made a pretty good living playing piano.
I was so wasted on Quaaludes.
So I said Jerry Lee was a Satanist. That's not true.
No. Although I have to say that Gilley's was back in the day was the place to go partying.
I never went to Gilley's. That was in Houston, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Man, Quaaludes were quite the thing back in that day. So
World's largest nightclub.
Yep.
At one point.
It was, yeah. Quite the time.
Could you imagine those three boys together, Swaggart, Jerry Lee, and Mickey hanging out?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you're growing up at that important time in your life.
Oh, they had a Gilley's in Vegas too. Joey Aragon reports.
Do they? Yeah, I
guess they did. Probably not anymore.
What was it? The one with John Travolta in it. And
that was Urban Cowboy.
Urban Cowboy, thank you. That was
and that was it. A lot of that was at Gilley's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We a lot of Mickey Gilley music in Urban Cowboy.
And we watched it. They allowed people to come in, and it was quite the something. Yeah, back in the day, man. Back in the day.
Wow. John Travolta has been in several cultural altering movies.
Well, his last
Saturday Night Live or Saturday Night Fever started the whole disco culture, really.
It did.
And Urban Cowboy started the whole cowboy culture, and that was a big thing, man.
It really was.
I could even say that Pulp Fiction was kind of culturally altering as well.
It was. I agree.
So is Travolta a magician, or is he just lucky?
He looks bad today. I know that.
Well, he finally just shaved his head. He got smart and said, "Let me just shave my head."
Yep. But his look, though, I mean, his whole physique. I mean, you look at Michael, the movie Michael, where he came back. That was one of those movies. I mean, it was a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And you think of Travolta, I think of Benny Barbarino.
Barbarino.
Yeah. Welcome Back, Carter. Hey, give me
What do I think of when I think of Travolta? I guess I probably think of Grease.
another good one.
Yeah.
It brought the whole revival of the 50s rock and roll.
There you go again.
Yeah.
John Travolta. What is it about John Travolta?
I don't know.
He must have some amazing energy.
If he was
truly, I've had breakfast 45 minutes with John Travolta.
Now he's Scientology.
Great guy.
Scientology, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I don't know what's happened. I know Cruz is apparently still very much into that.
Yeah, I think Cruz is going to be out. Something tells me he's going to be out.
Well, his physique, he's found something. Do you
Travolta?
think that's no, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, is that conditioning? Is that normal conditioning that any 55-year-old can do?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it if you're committed to it.
That's what it takes, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, commitment.
Yeah, Tom's a little bit older than me.
Is he?
And a little bit richer than me.
Yeah, yeah. But then, I look at Robert Downey Jr., and he kind of just the opposite. It's just like that's kind of a normal guy, but I don't know.
Interesting stuff.
I like Cruise, though. I am going to go see Top Gun.
Oh, definitely. I'm going to go see Top Gun.
Got to.
And what else is coming out? They've got these. I think he just signed the paperwork to do 2 more Mission Impossibles.
Really?
Yeah.
I tell you what, I've been thinking. I was writing a piece this week on the whole theme of Minority Report.
Oh, yeah, that was a good movie.
And here in Denver, they're solving 35-year-old cold cases now through working with the genetic companies.
Interesting.
So the Minority Report is coming to pass.
And somebody said that something bad about Travolta. I'd be very surprised if that was true. I haven't spent that much time with him.
Someone said Phenomenon. That was a great movie, by the way.
I don't remember that one.
That's where he was, struck. He's out.
Yeah. That was actually filmed in North Bend, Washington, or Snoqualmie, Washington, when I was kind of up in that area.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie.
That was a great movie.
I cry in that movie. It's a very, when he starts the true reasoning and they're asking him the questions, when were you born? And the doctor said, well, give me an ID. He says, well, I need more detail. And I didn't realize, he said, well, now if I was born in New York and died in San Francisco, I would be 4 hours older than
Interesting.
Good movie.
Interesting. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, Travolta has been married a long time. What's her name? Kelly Preston.
Mm-hmm.
They lost a child. That must have been just, you can't even imagine.
Back in his day, I always amazed me about his house because he could drive his 757 right up to the house.
Could he really?
Yeah. It's like, sure. Park that 757. Just find any place out there.
I wonder if he knows Copeland.
Wow, that would be a dichotomy of views, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because they're both pilots, and you think those kind of guys would kind of hang out with each other.
Boy, talking about philosophical meeting of the minds.
Travolta would Copeland even talk to John Travolta?
Probably not.
You don't think so? Literally,
he's got that inner circle now. He won't go outside it.
Yeah. Wow.
That last ambush I heard was something that just, they work extremely hard keeping him isolated.
Well, you had to. I don't think they can trust him in front of a camera anymore where it's not controlled. Did
you see the multiple personalities?
I did. Wow. How old is Copeland?
84, 85.
Is he that old?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I believe so.
Wow.
He's the same age as my dad.
How old is Kenneth Copeland? 82 years old.
82. Is it 82?
Yeah, that's what it says. So he's obviously dyeing that hair.
Oh, no, that's God.
Mm-hmm. I'll bet. Creflo Dollars, 57. He's a youngster.
Yeah, he is.
Gloria, 77. Gloria Copeland
is 77. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
They're all going to start dying off pretty quick.
Like the rock and rollers.
Yeah, we'll have Swigert, Copeland, Hagen's already gone. Shambach's already gone.
And, I know we've gone over on this, but, you think this week, the new breed of ministers are falling off very quickly.
Good.
Yeah, they
It's
are.
going to get worse.
I think it is.
We're taking them down.
They're finding very difficult times in reconciling.
Yeah, we'll put them right back in the dumpster, but it won't be for the reason they was there before.
Come on over here. You'll leave happy.
Yeah. All right, Wayne.
Oh, thank you, Jeffrey.
Here we go. That was a good time.
It was fun. This was a very unusual episode, but they all are.
They all are.
Well, I'm off to do brunch today.
Oh, you're going to go out for brunch, huh?
Yes, we're going to meet some friends, and so we're going for brunch.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Why is brunch so expensive?
Because we think that it's something kind of unique on Sundays, and you're going to pay extra for it.
It's just a combination of breakfast and lunch, right?
It's supposed to be.
But it costs more than dinner.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I can go in Denny's at any time during the week.
That sounds like a Jerry Seinfeld bit. What's up with brunch? It's breakfast and lunch, but it's more than dinner.
Another thing to put into your act.
No, that's too stupid. I can't do that.
Oh, come on.
It's got to be mean, dirty, or nasty to work in my act.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was fun. Thank you for being here. Denny's always had good chicken wings. Man, you ain't had no good chicken wings if you think the ones at Denny's are good. That's all I'm saying. But you know what, Wayne? I haven't eaten meat for like 7-8 days, and I feel really good. It was kind of accidental, but I think I'm going to roll with it for a little while.
Well, you know what I tell people that are looking at that? The reason why I eat cow is that cows are vegetarians.
Exactly. You eat vegetarian, just secondhand.
Just secondhand. That's all.
For our Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next Sunday. Between now and then, we hope you have a great week.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care, folks. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you. Bye-bye.